Hey guys, this is Killrob speaking, and in today's little dev update we are going to talk about three topics, and that would be market competition, the UI, and some polishing tasks, and then of course the open beta and release. So let's get right into it with topic number one. In previous little dev updates I've presented to you the markets, and we can quickly take a look at those by just, for instance, loading this car. And of course, in order for the markets to work, we will have to have some competition for you there. And otherwise, for instance, every field would be green because, well, if there's only one car in the market and it drives more than 0.1 kilometers an hour and doesn't brake after 1 centimeter, then definitely people will consider it the best car in the market. And that, of course, isn't very helpful. So in order to provide you with something to compete with, we have given the testers a huge task, and that is actually pretty massive. We are building about-ish 1,000 cars over the span of the game, which is 1940 to 2020, and there is basically a trim for every category for every 10 years, maybe a bit more than that, in some cases even every 5 years. So that's of course a lot of cars. But then we run into a little problem, and that is the testers are among the best players of automation in the world. And that's a bit bad if you never get a chance to really compete against those. So what we did there is something you can see here. I also contributed to the quest by building a lineup of sports and supercars, but we are pricing all of them at +20 and are giving all of them a suspension quality of -15, and the effect of that you can see here. Now I upped it to what it should be, and you can see very little change in price and man hours, but the stats are going up quite significantly. So what we're doing is we are just building the cars as we would, and then drag down the quality there and set the market price a bit higher to 20% margin. And yeah, I think that should be working out well. This is kind of comparable to medium difficulty scenarios, and that was usually something which was considered very challenging, but fair still. So yeah, that's what we are aiming for. And there will be every little hole filled in here, although not all of the markets at all times. So for instance, in Ahana we have a bit of a problem going into the 70s, and that is with the leaded fuel ban coming up. And this fuel ban is coming much earlier in other regions than in Ahana. And what happens in the fuel ban is that you get a much higher weighting towards the of fuel availability towards the non-leaded versions, of course. And if you then try to make one model for all three regions, you will basically have no fuel availability for that in Ahana, because they're still all using the leaded stuff. So it's kind of tricky. There might be some holes in there, you see. Also, of course, every region has a bit of difference in their running costs, and you will definitely find some openings there. So yeah, that's what we are doing for the market competition. But of course, don't forget, you can make your own companies and export them and then use as your own competition. For example, the company Tachyon Motors could be now added as a mod to the competition folder, and then what is not prepared right now, but we will implement it before launch, is that you probably can go to the options menu and choose your competitors and your competitor companies. That also means that you can compete against your friends if you like. Another thing which is really neat will be that all the regions will be moddable, and by all I don't mean free, but you can add however many regions you really want and call them proper names and kind of model a static version of today's world if you are so inclined. I definitely wouldn't keep you from it. Yes, it will be awesome to see what people come up with. It's just a CSV file. So just open Excel and start editing your own regions, basically. Very mod friendly. This will also be supported in the workshop, of course. I'm looking forward to what people can cook up there. Anyway, that's it for topic number 1. Let's move into topic number 2. First, when I wanted to record this little dev update, I was thinking to myself, well, what big things are there even to show right now? We have done so many small things. And just to name a few, there are plenty more, of course, we are currently planning to make a little revamp of the car manager you see in front of you here. And what you see here now is just a little mock-up draft of a better visibility version or better readability version of our car manager, and that should definitely come in handy. And then, of course, there are plenty of bug fixes, among others also the much dreaded saving system, which was very bugged. I have to admit it was pretty bad. Anyway, what we also have added is a bit of more robust mod support, I think. And on a more exciting note, maybe for those running slower systems, would be that we have made all the car calculations multi-threaded. So they are running much quicker now. And also when you are in here, well, it doesn't really matter to you yet because you have nothing to compare with, but also the market demographics calculations are all now running in parallel, and they are made into several threads split out over different cores so that it's a bit more quickly calculated. Definitely needed when you have over 1,000 cars to compare to, I can tell you. And yeah, what more changes are there? Let me think. We have, of course, plenty of small and large balance changes. For example, one bigger one would be car cooling. And you probably have heard about like older cars overheating all the time. And that is currently in the public version not the case. In automation they need much less cooling than the more modern cars, and that shouldn't be the case really. So what we did is, if you are back in 1940, you basically need 3 times the cooling in order to keep your engine cooled compared to the same power engine in 2020. That should help make things a bit more realistic. Also, that of course makes aerodynamics much more shit back in the days, which also makes things more realistic. But another nice change, I don't really know if I have shown this on the side of things or not, but basically you can now choose a longitudinal 4x4 drive, and please ignore these really fancy pink boxes and triangles. This is just something Andrew is messing around with right now. This of course will be removed later. And yes, where was I? Longitudinal 4x4. This is an always on or always off drive mode, which has a 50-50 torque split, so you cannot adjust the setting in your power distribution. It is just 50-50 for off-road use if you turn the switch, and otherwise it always acts as rear-wheel drive. So all the calculations are done as a rear-wheel drive, but for off-road and the off-road stat, which you now see very nicely here, it is considered to be a pretty much centric 4x4, which is a nice addition, I think. Many asked for that. So, also, I don't think I have shown to you the new layout here on the side, which is much more handy now that we have proper secondary stats. And that would be, well, the 5 main stats are, of course, drivability, sportiness, comfort, prestige, and safety. But the secondary stats, which we now have in the game, are the practicality, utility, and off-road, as well as, of course, the economy. And what more is there? Well, basically the running costs, which you now can see on the detailed stats page. Yeah. Alright, but enough of this rambling of small details. Let's jump into the final topic of the day. Things have been going pretty well so far, and now we are in the last stages of packing all the nice things and all the new features together in a nice little content update for you guys. And that would be released, if we are a bit optimistic, I would say 1 week, and that is the open beta release then, though. That is semi-realistic, depending on how much more resistance we encounter, as for instance this week was quite a bit slower, probably lost, or well, we used 3 days in order to make the calculations a bit faster with multi-threading and stuff. And yeah, there's just plenty of more little things which come up, and there probably will be some more useful stuff that is implemented before release. But 1 week, maybe a bit more, until open beta, and then we will have about 1 week of the open beta running until we have public release. And as far as we can tell right now, your cars and engines will be compatible to this new version, which should be a sigh of relief for some of you. And there will be probably a kind of tool running the first time you start it up, which converts all your cars to the new format. So we thought of that. Anyway, I'm pretty excited to see this getting out to you and what you can come up with. And I hope the open beta can start soonish. So keep you posted about this. I will probably be doing a little dev update right before open beta so that you're informed. And until then, see you guys next time.